giving people a one-stop shop for sales and recruiting. And then also giving people a one-stop shop for things that are important to help you to craft an amazing message within sales.
In recruitment, I mean, you can go after those open jobs and you can try and hit people up, but everyone's doing that, right? Like everyone knows the jobs posted on LinkedIn. Everybody can see it then, and so people are going to get those reaches.
We've built a series of over 18 agents in the platform, and they're having interactions with each other in real time. So it's like a team almost working to do things, and that's how you can guarantee quality.
Joel Lalgee and Marcus Sawyerr welcome you to AI in Recruiting, the show where they break down how AI is transforming hiring, leadership, and the future of work. Expect real talk, smart tools, and bold conversations with the people shaping what's next. Let's get into it.
What is up, everybody? It is good to be here with you. Welcome to the show. Marcus, good to be here with you as well, as always.
You too, Joel. How you doing?
Doing well. 2026 is off to a fast and cold start. How about yourself?
Yeah, ours has been fast and hot, so California's not too bad at the moment. Yeah, speaking to a lot of our customers and building with them and co-creating, and got some exciting updates to share.
Amazing. Can't wait to see what you've been up to and hear what you've been working on.
Yeah, it's mainly been around all the conversations that we were having, obviously, last year. The newsletter has been growing. I think we're over like 83,000 people now, and a lot of the discussions had really been around business development, as you have started to dive a lot deeper into that space and helping people get access to the right information at the right time. So that's really where we were spending our time. So happy to give a sneak peek into what that looks like.
Yeah, I love it. Let's see what you've been working on.
All right, cool. So we're going to do something we don't normally do, and we're going to do a demo, right? So if you are listening to this, you may want to either check it out live on LinkedIn, or you want to go to YouTube and check this out. So I'll run through a few demos, but I think just at the high level, as I always like to talk about, is like the problems that we're trying to solve. And I don't know about you, Joel, but it's been really noisy out there at the moment with AI in general. And it's been really noisy, I think, for clients as well, for trying to figure out, can companies who are reaching out to me absolutely help me? So that's sort of what I've been seeing and what I've been feeling. And then there's been a big challenge where people have been spending a lot of money on the same tools. And as one client in particular I was speaking to, and they were like, look, they had over 300 recruiters. They were spending in excess of $2.4 million on LinkedIn. And they cut their staff in half, and the price is the same. And I spoke to another client who's like, they're spending hundreds and hundreds of thousands on LinkedIn in the same scenario, but the data that they're getting out is just not what they need. So we've been spending more time trying to help people get the most out of their LinkedIn subscriptions, number one. And then secondly, augment the information and data that they have to make their database alive. And it took a lot of work to get to this point. I think we've got some solutions that our customers are using, they're paying for, and they're excited about, and we're continuously building and developing. And there's, of course, AI in there because we're an AI company, but it's really just about the quality of information and data.
Yeah, I love that. That's huge. It's a massive challenge, right? And so we talk about this all the time. It's hitting people at the right time with the right information, insights, and knowledge. And so I think if you can access that, I think that's exciting for a lot of people.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll run through a few of these areas that we've been focusing on. I'm going to share screen, and by the time some of this airs, there are probably going to be updates as well. But at least it'll give you an overview of exactly what we've been working on. So at EQ, we've been spending the majority of our time on sales and recruiting. And I've looked at it in three main areas that I think are important. And one is what we call Scout, which is actually finding new people. And this is Scout. This is an example of Scout. We'll go into that in a second. And the other is also Enrich, which is basically getting the best out of your own database. So importing your own network and leveraging that. And then the final part is Track, So that is the EQ set, SET, Scout, Enrich, and Track. And those are the areas where we found that some of the problems we've been solving have been like traditional databases have literally just had outdated information. So we're updating that information at scale, making it really, really easy for people to do that. And then again, continuous source and making sure that your database is alive, because a lot of the time databases are stale, and especially hard in niche markets and markets where it's really important that you understand what your candidates are doing at what point in time, what jobs they're in, and where they're moving. But the main thing that I would say is I think the approach that we've taken has been slightly different. There's kind of two areas. One is giving people a one-stop shop for sales and recruiting, and then also giving people a one-stop shop for things that are important to help you to craft an amazing message within sales. So signals, as we'll call them as well. So I'll run through this, but the thing that I keep hearing is just independence on your own data. If you have your own data, you own it forever. We've done that with our Substack. We've been able to build that to 83,000 plus, and it'll probably be more by the time this airs. And so how can we help people that are either doing sales or they're in recruitment build their own database and keep it alive? So that's where we've been spending a lot of our time, and we're focusing on startups and enterprise as well to give them access to data. So that's the high level, but happy to dive right into some demos unless you've got any questions there, Joe.
No, it looks great. And I think, that independence too, right? Independence from LinkedIn. I think a lot of people are feeling that. I don't know if you saw my post this week. I don't think you're on LinkedIn that much, but I actually got a message from them saying I was restricted for literally viewing too many profiles, which as a
Wow.
recruiter, I'm pretty sure that's part of my job. So, yeah.
I'd like to think that that's part of your job, right?
Yeah. I know a lot of people in the comments as well was saying like, "Hey, I've got that similar notice." So I think it's great what you're doing.
Yeah. Well, look, I'll share what we have, and one of the things as well for our listeners, we're actually going to give them the opportunity to try all of this for free as well, so they can get a taste. But I'm going to start with Scout, and then we'll run through some of the other areas as well. So I'm just going to go and share screen and start with Scout and just kind of give you an overview of like how it works and what it is and what it does. And it just be a bit of a teaser in under 5 minutes. Can you see my screen at the moment?
Looks good to me.
All right, great. So I'm just going to run this kind of pre-recording, just give you an overview so we can like talk and narrate at the same time, and I can stop in certain areas. And the whole idea, as I mentioned at a high level, is really around signals. We want to make it easy for people to figure out who has recent funding, if there's any FDA approvals in biotech, where the projects are, but also being able to figure out clients, candidates, and jobs in one space. And so you can get started for free. Obviously, we take data privacy and GDPR really seriously. So you have to sign up to the terms and conditions there. And then as you can see on the left-hand side, I've got a bunch of agents that are going out and doing things. In the platform itself, you can start with clients. If I typed in sales leaders, for instance, in San Francisco, what you'll start to notice is Scout will start to think. And the first time Scout thinks, it takes a little bit of time, but once it starts thinking, it gives you an overview of how it got to this information. Also, it's the same for candidates, but you'll start to see that the thinking switches. So if you're looking for leaders or you're looking for candidates, it switches the mode. And then you can do the same for jobs. So maybe you're trying to recruit and you're trying to find companies that are hiring, and you want to look at sales leaders jobs in SF, you can do the same thing. And the ad Scout starts to think. You don't have to type anything. It just starts to understand the jobs. You can see last 7 days and also last 24 hours.
Yeah,
So yeah, just to make it really simple to have things in one space. So we'll do a search for clients. So Scout goes out and tries to find new clients. So we're looking for sales leaders. And as you can see, it comes up pretty quickly. And on the left-hand side, you've got an ability to refine. So these are some of the new features since we had our current clients that have been on and given us some feedback. I know you got a sneak peek a couple of weeks ago, and now we'll start to give a little bit more of a broader release. And as you can see, if I look at Deepak, one of the things that's interesting here is you've got name, you've got details, you've got information, you've also got the ability to outreach as well in line. But if you like a lead and you're interested in a lead, it's really, really simple to get the scout to start working for you. So you can X out or you can check. So if you check, it will then start to build out a list of leads that you like, and then you can then start to get more relevant leads just like that as well. So we can start to check some of these leads. You can also do it at bulk. So it makes it really interesting for you to select a bulk and also generate outreach at bulk as well. And we'll be adding more features and that. It's connected to emails like Outlook and Gmail right now. And so this is just a track from the sales side, and you can go back in and refine. And as you'll notice in the top left, we've got Buddy there. So I've given Buddy an appearance again. So Buddy lives in here. So you've got full AI capabilities inside of the platform. So it's not a separate product anymore. You can have a conversation with EQ Buddy and you can help it to do anything that you do in any kind of large language model, whether it's ChatGPT or any of those platforms. We have the same capability inside this platform, so you don't have to leave. The other part is also the piece around understanding a little bit more around your list. So your agents, the ones that you build out. So I'm going to go to a list that I made earlier, and this was around news. This is telling me that there's 20 to 75 expected hires based on this news. So it's new and it tells me that I need to act now. So I can click on one of these articles and it would take me directly to the site where that news has taken place. And it allows me to then start to do more of a search to find more signals around that particular news. So if I'm in biotech and I want to find signals and news on FDA approvals, I can do that. Or if I want to find jobs, and we'll do the job search again, who's hiring for particular roles, I can do that as well. So it's really to give you a full overview and one space for you to find all the signals that you need in order to be successful. So I'm not going to go into too much more detail because we've got 3 parts of set. So this is Scout, then you've got Enrich, and then you've got Track as well. So anybody who's interested, feel free to click the link that we'll put in the notes and you can sign up for free and try it, get access. We're working with a lot of small and mid-sized staff and recruiting firms, as well as some of the larger players where we're giving access to our APIs as well. So that gives a little bit of an overview and hopefully just an idea on what Scout is.
Yeah, it's super helpful. I think what I love most is the it's that signal piece, right? Because I think we've talked about this before, like in recruitment. I mean, you can go after those open jobs and you can try and hit people up, but everyone's doing that, right? Like everyone knows the jobs posted on LinkedIn. Everybody can see it then, and so people are going to get those reaches. So what you want to be able to do is have those signals beforehand show up. But I love then, let's say you reach out to one of these companies that's hiring 200 people, that sales manager, whoever reaches back out and says, yeah, great, we are doing that hiring. Then you also have that capability with Buddy in there as well to look smart, right? Because then maybe they say, let's get on a call. Okay, I haven't even prepared anything. Now you have that all in one spot as well. And then I would assume that it's going to learn as well as time goes by. So the more you use it, the better it's going to get.
Yeah, and I'll show you something that I think is really, really interesting. And we had a request for this. Is like not only that you use Buddy, but when you've got a very specific lead, what you can do. So I'm just going to see if I can run through this to give you an example. I'll go back to one of my lists that I had previously. So if I go to heads of legal, we've got a really special feature in here called research on why now, and it's under deep dive. Okay. So that basically starts to learn about the person, it learns about their company, it understands what's going on in their environment, and then it will provide you a talk track on what's going on in their business. So I noticed recent regulatory changes have prompted many law firms to reconsider their staffing needs now for the office. So you can have that as an opener. And then further down, you've then got the quick intro where it drafts a personal email for you based on that. Furthermore, inside of the platform, we've got brand voice. And so you can add your own brand voice and your own style. So what you'll see at the end when this is generated, and it might take a little bit of time now, so I'm going to jump out and show you one that I had earlier. Let me see if I've got one. I'm going to see if I can show you a live example of this. Give me 1 second. But the idea is that you sound like who you actually are, right? So you're not kind of like coming up with this AI slot, which is really what everybody's trying to avoid. And so in my settings, and I'll just show you my settings. I'm just going to cover my email. What you'll notice is I have a brand voice. So once I go into my settings here, I can configure my brand voice, and then it says how I want to sound. I've just put company EQ.app, value propositions. That's obviously spelled wrong, but it doesn't really matter. And then you can add sample emails and messages, and this will save to your brand voice. And the model starts to learn who you are each time. So every time you write an email, it will adapt specifically to you.
Yeah, I love that. Super smart.
Yeah. So brand voice, personalization at scale. And we're going to add more bulk features as well. But we think a lot of people do a really good job from the bulk side, but it's really about the precision. And so we've focused a lot more on if you've got these really, really target audience that you want to get after, and it's leadership level, and or you know who you need to be in touch with, but you want to figure out an angle to get in there. This will help you to do that and do that all in one place and do it really quickly.
And then just to confirm too, because I don't know the the familiarity people have with agents, because I know, that can be the kind of a buzzword, or maybe people aren't 100%. Walk me through, like, on the back end, with an agent, they're kind of working for you 24/7. So is it similar work, like if you were to hire let's say a VA in the Philippines and say, hey, can you research news and companies that have got funded? Is it like a similar type of activity? What's going on there?
Yeah, so I think the simplest way to put it without like talking it up so much, if you go to Google and you do a search, right, you'll get some decent results still to this day. But people's behavior is changing where you're kind of starting to talk to these platforms. So it's conversational. And it was the same with ChatGPT. The next step is you can talk to a large language model and you'll get some kind of feedback. So you see it in Buddy, right? That's like a basic large language model that is there on the left-hand side. But what the agents do is they have a framework which I called before OTT, so objectives, tasks, and tools. So if you're hiring somebody offshore, you're going to give them a job to do. And in this case, their job's to find leads. And the task is like, I want you to find leads through signals. That's kind of one part of it. Or I want you to find leads through jobs. Or I just want to find person. So that's like the task. And the tools, you have certain data sources, access to information. But I think the nuance in here that is really under the hood is our agents, and then you'll notice Scout say that, are interacting with one another. So we've built a series of over 18 agents in the platform, and they're having interactions with each other in real time. So it's like a team almost working to do things, and that's how you can guarantee quality is going to come out, because a lot of the times these agents hallucinate, but if they're working on one very specific task, it makes it easier. So that's, I suppose, a bit more of like the secret sauce, if you like, what's going on behind the scenes and how it works.
Yeah, no, I love that. Thanks for sharing that.
No worries. And I hope some of the listeners here, look, if you're out there and you're interested in getting new data, new information that's going to help you sell, feel free to reach out, and we'll be happy to share what we're doing and also connect with you as well. Going to switch gears slightly, because what we've also found is that there are folks that have a lot of information, but it's out of date. In this scenario, and I'll just run through an example, this is Enrich. And the whole idea is to make sure that your database stays alive. Okay. A lot of the time people say, hey, my database is my best asset, but it's out of date, blah, blah. So, and also sometimes you meet people where you've got some information about people. And I'm going to show an example of where we didn't have much on a few people, and then we started to get more. The scenario where we're looking at nurse practitioners, we had one of our clients slash advisors reached out and was like, look, I've got this list here. I don't know the companies that they work for. I only know their first name and last name. I don't have phone numbers. I don't have resumes. I don't have any of that. So we've got two phases to enrich. One is you can enrich with things like a LinkedIn URL, and we can get you contact information, and that takes 5 or 6 minutes. But the other is with not much data. So I'm going to walk you through what that looks like on EQ Enrich. And Here's just an example of how it works. So basically, you can go to EQ and Enrich and you can import a CSV, and these are all self-serve. These are all self-serve products. Let me just make sure that I'm sharing the right screen for you there, and then you should be able to see this. On EQ Enrich, what you can do is you can go and you can upload or even manual enter data. So in this scenario, we've taken these kind of nurses examples. So we've got this big list of nurse practitioners. There's a list of in that scenario, there was 4, but I think we added 500 nurses. So we've taken 500 nurses and dropped this as a CSV. What the agent's doing is they're investigating the structure of the data. So trying to figure out like what the fields, how they're set out and how they're structured, and what's also inside of the data set itself. So it's realized these are the fields. If it understood it automatically, it wouldn't confirm with you. So we've given a best match of what we think the first field is, what we think the second field is. And then in here, we've got an NPI, which is a nurse's number. And we think that would be the best unique identifier. So that's the agent going out and guessing, this is what I think would be the best to identify those nurses. You can choose other things as well. But in this scenario, we're now going to confirm an import. And because we don't have a lot of information on these people, and typically if we had, as I mentioned, if you even had LinkedIn URL, we can get contact details and information. What they're trying to do is the agents are now going out and trying to identify who these people actually are, just by first name, last name. So Scout is inside of these agents. So Scout is being used inside of our enrichment. So this is where you see some of the overlap between the agents. And the agents are now going out to try and identify who the people are. Now, once it's identified who some of these folks are, it wants to double check with you, does this look right? So now you've got an opportunity to say, this is the wrong person or this is a correct match. So we've got low confidence on this one that we can find who that person is on the net. We've got higher confidence in here, but it's still fairly low. But once you start to go through, what you'll start to see is that we'll get the confidence level higher. And once we do that, it trains the model. So in a second, you'll see that one of the matches to review will be kind of medium level, and then we'll go into a higher level as well. So so the agent is trawling through. Now we've got a medium confidence, and we'll say that we think this is the correct match. And we can keep doing this, but we're only going to give the agent a few of these, like 2 or 3, because we've got a list of 500. And then once we've given it a couple of correct matches, it learns to understand, okay, this is what correct is. And now it's making suggestions because it had low confidence, and now it's making suggestions. These are the other Lins. And obviously Lin is a popular name, right? So you're never going to know who all the Lins are. And so we've now selected the alternative because we knew that was part of healthcare. So we say, okay, that's probably the right Lin. And then after that looks good, we can approve all. So we don't have to go through this whole process and say, I think you understand how I search, right? And so we'll do a couple more correct matches. And again, this is like a really quick process for anyone to go through. And it's a reinforcement learning. And then you can go and say, okay, look, this looks good. Now, once we say that this looks good, what will happen is it will start to then approve that entire list and understand who those people are. So in the next phase, you start to enter a dashboard where what's happening is the agents are going out and you can see scouts there at the bottom, finding missing data right here. And now it's pulling in these batches of lists. So you've done it, given it a little bit of training, given a little bit of an idea on what you're interested in. And again, if we knew what it was, we would have certain confidence. And then you go through this list and it starts to then batch 100 at a time in contact. So what we were able to do in this scenario, it takes about 30 minutes or so to find our agents to go out and find 500 leads. So now we're starting to find some verified emails, which is a little bit of data, which is not much. And then as you start to go further down, you'll start to see that the list will start to get fully enriched. And then you start to see some of the profile pictures come in and you get more richer information. And Enrich works really well, even on your current data set. So if you've got a lot of data and you only need 1 or 2 fields, that's more of a richer profile, which I'll actually go back to that to give an example. Let's just do this here. We can go here and I'll pause this in a second just to go through that. And it will basically tell you the type of data and the type of information that you can get all in real time. So as we go into this particular profile as well, and we start to view the details, what you'll notice is we don't just have one piece of information. We're getting professional trajectory. We get verified emails, verified records, phone numbers, and all of those types of things. And for personal identification numbers, we'll obviously be blurring some of these parts out, but it just at least gives people an indication of how that works. So I'll just stop there for a second, and that is EQ Enrich.
I love the example with, nurses in healthcare, because obviously it's a real challenge. But you're telling me like I could, download contacts if I've got, an email list, maybe from a newsletter, LinkedIn content, LinkedIn contacts. I guess even, I could upload like my numbers in my phone book, right? So it's like really any kind of data that you own, you're able to put in, and it's kind of train it to enrich it on the things that you want, and then it just kind of learns and figures that out pretty quickly, because it looks like you trained it for like less than a minute there.
And when you're doing like a list, so we've got one client in particular. So this is fully integrated into Salesforce as well. So larger clients are using it. So there's a Salesforce integration in there, and you can go and use it, and we'll add HubSpot and a few others. And so you log into your Salesforce. EQ.app's got an app inside of Salesforce. You log in through that. It starts to enrich and upload, and you map the fields in your Salesforce. You just start seeing the data coming in. If you have, as I mentioned, like company name, it's much quicker than that. Like really, you can go and check it out, and we'll give people access who want to enrich data. And we used a lot of this for our newsletters. We used a lot of this to enrich the list that I had from my own personal network, right? So that helped us to grow our Substack. It helped us to get momentum. So if you've got data that's out of date and you don't know who these people are, but you've got a relationship with them, this is a really a good way to keep your database alive and fresh. And then if you have your own CRM, so working small but mainly big companies as well, is like if you just want to keep your data constantly updated, the agents can go out and do that, and you wake up in the morning. That's really kind of fully automated, right? You don't even need to be there.
Yeah, which is huge. I mean, I know so many companies, that's their biggest complaint, right? It's looks like the data is not up to date.
Yeah, it's a challenge. So with all that being said, one of the challenges that we didn't want to go down this track, but we were kind of forced to, meaning, and excuse the pun as far as track, we've got Scout, Enrich, and now Track. And we have some customers that are really small businesses, they're starting up, and that they've got a challenge where it's like, look, they're working for a spreadsheet, or they think some of these CRMs and ATS are really confusing. So we want to build a really lightweight way to track information, but that's now become a hub where you'll be able to start sending outreach, and the agents then start to work. You get data and you get dashboards. So I'll show you an example of it. And our code name initially was EQ0, which is not necessarily a code now. It's just EQATS.com. So if anybody's interested in getting an ATS, that's really easy and simple to use, and then we can have agents running there, let me know. But I'll walk you through the live demo on this as well. So it's so early, we haven't even done any of the videos on them. So this is live, me just going into my environment, and you can see
This is
some of the information.
exclusive.
Yeah. This is live and exclusive. As you can see, the kind of three main areas, you've got recruitment, sales, and marketing. So we'll be adding marketing as well. But it's one hub for you to go to. And inside of your dashboard, you'll have an idea of the open positions, what you're working on, jobs by department, and all of this data. And this is real live now as we speak. Inside of sales, you can look at your network. So you can actually host your network in here. And then you basically have your network in here where you can reach out, you can email them, contact them. You can have clients also in here as well. So this is a demo client, and you can have the amount of jobs that they've got open, and then the companies that you're working on as well. So it's a full-blown applicant tracking system. We also have been powering some websites and some companies, and I'll show you maybe just a quick one to show you Fish Pros, where we built this website for them. This then powers their ATS as well. And so if you go to the bottom, what you'll notice is it's powered by EQ.app. And so the idea of the ATS is that you've got clients, and then you've also got recruitment in one space. If you go to your jobs, you're able to see all of the jobs that you have, that you're working on, and then you can go into those jobs and then see if those positions are going to be filled or not. And you can also activate agents. So you can run an agent for enrichment. You can also have an agent for sourcing, or have a resume scorer as well. So it's pretty comprehensive as far as what's available and what you can get. The idea, again, is that we're just tracking everything that you've enriched, also tracking everything that you've scouted, and then everything that comes into your website. So you've got one platform for everything. And we're rolling this out, as I mentioned, for really clients that like, look, I'm in a spreadsheet. I don't want to be in a spreadsheet, but I want something really simple that I can use. I mean, it's easy to get set up. Many people have an ATS, so we're partnering with a lot of the ATSs at the moment. But if you don't have an ATS and you want a CRM in one space, you can check out EQ ATS.
That'd be ideal for like anyone who's starting up a business, right? In 2026. I know a lot of recruiters are aiming to do that. You
Yeah,
just want
exactly.
something intuitive.
Exactly. And it's like, look, if you want to create a job from scratch, you can go in and just create a job description. You'll have the AI that will go out and do this. And by the time you see this, there'll be another version that will be live on this as well. But you can just literally put sales, you can enhance it with AI and AI agents. And this is where the agents start to work. They'll work in the background, try and understand more about the job description. So it's like simple things like that that would sometimes take a little bit of time can just get done in seconds, right? So now you've got a job description here, you go next, you can then publish the job. And we're just making it really easy. And I'll just put save as a draft so it doesn't actually go out. And then you get the amount of applications that come in for that as well. So yeah, this is EQ.ATS. And the idea is you've got your own operating system for sales and recruitment. And then we'll also be adding marketing. Some of you might have seen some of the stuff we were doing with Willow previously, which was a little bit of fun, but a bit of vibe coding. So we've got a vibe coding platform that we can launch. So if people want to create marketing material as well. So that is the EQ set: Scout, Enrich, and Track.
Yeah, I think what I love about all of this too is like obviously the more you use the platforms, the more they're gonna understand you, right? And you get your brand voice piece, but then as you're doing research, as you're looking up what those signals are, it's like everything is connected. So okay, so best place for people to go just to kind of get started, what would you recommend?
If you're seeing this online or on LinkedIn, just reach out to me directly and I'll make sure that you get one of our special offers. If you are online, you can go to any of the EQ properties, but EQ.app is going to be the easiest one for you to go to. So EQ.app. If you want to use Scout directly, it's just /Scout. And then it's /Enrich and then /ATS. So we'll have pages and information around that and we'll also put it in the show notes as well. And any of the special offers that we have for people to get started, we'll let you know. All these products you can start with for free. So you can try them for free for our audience. We're going to do that for the first few months. We've got clients that are paying us already because they've been using it, but we want to give you an opportunity to see how it looks, see how it feels, and make sure that you get value.
I love it. And then you mentioned a newsletter up to what, 80, you said 80,000 subscribers?
I think it's 85 now, yeah. Yeah, it's growing. The main thing, as I keep saying to you, is like the views, not just numbers, but like are people opening it? Our last newsletter got the most views, and we continue to grow that. But it's really just about keeping people informed on what's going on with AI. I've been a little bit quiet, I would say more than recent on LinkedIn and sites like that because we've just been building, and we'll continue to release and build. So we're just really sharing our journey and what it's like to build real solutions in the space of AI that solve problems for our industry that we've all been in. As you know, like I've been in the industry for 18 years, worked for the largest recruitment company in the world as a global head of innovation, and been building our company for the last 5 years. I started as a permanent placement recruitment business. So it's recruiters building for recruiters. And somebody said this to me the other day, I think you're a full stack builder. So I actually changed my title on LinkedIn to full stack builder. Now I happen to be the CEO, founder of EQ. So excited to partner with companies, excited to help them with their data and get it fresh so they can be independent. I think that in this age of AI, having data into information, into insights is going to be absolutely key.
I love it, man. I love it. Well, guys, go check it out. Go subscribe to the newsletter too if you haven't subscribed. And I'm looking forward as well because I know I just launched, kind of relaunched my recruitment business. So excited to see those insights as well. And I know 2026 seems to be a lot of optimism as well around hiring and growing teams. So I know I'm pumped as well. So yeah.
Yeah, we're going to make sure we give you the signal so you can stay ahead. That's the goal, right? Even if it does get hard, you've got the agents in the background here to help, and we're also here to support.
I love it, man. Well, thanks for sharing that, and appreciate it as always.
All good. And we'll get back to our regular scheduled program, I think, on the next episode. So feel free to tune in. And Joel, I know that you've been doing amazing work in the space of go-to-market recruiting. So if anybody needs full service, you've got to go to Joel for go-to-market recruiting.
Yeah, that's right. That's a little plug there. So I appreciate that, man.
Yeah. I took up all the oxygen in the room. So you got to have that plug. This is the most important one.
Amazing. All right. Well, I appreciate all you guys. And like Mark said, just connect with us and we will be back in a few weeks.
Yeah. Back in a few weeks. Safe travels, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye.
If you got value from today's episode, share it with someone in your network, your team, your boss, or that recruiter still stuck in 2015. Be sure to follow the show so you never miss what's next in hiring and AI. Until next time.